Let's now add the Add to Cart functionality in our project, so that when you click on the Add to Cart button, it adds that product to your cart, so that you can check out and pay for your products. So first of all, we need to open your project, and inside the products as product loop that we have created before, we have here a button called Add to Cart. Inside this Add to Cart, as you can see, the A tag, the anchor tag, I am going to get inside the href, and I'm going to add double curly braces for the opening and closing braces, and then inside it I'm going to add something called root, the root function, root, which is going to take us to a specific location. And inside this root function, we have two parameters that we need to pass. The first one is the root name that we want to get to. So for example, we can name it product add to cart product, add to cart product. And the other one, the second parameter, is an array. But before I do it, I need to add this inside, surrounded with single quotes, and then comma, and then the other parameter. The second parameter is the ID. We need to pass the ID of that product. So now we have an array, and the key is ID, and the value is the ID itself, which is product, and then the ID, right? And I'm going to here print out the ID so that you can see the ID, double curly braces, and then product, and then ID. Now the second thing is we need to add that root that we have created inside our web.php root file. So here I'm going to create root, and then get, and here double colons, and then the first one is the name. The first one is the URL, so the URL that you want for your project to get to when you click on that button. So the first one is, let's name it product, and then add to cart, and then ID, and we need to add only one single curly braces for the ID, because we are passing the ID with the URL, because this is a get request, which means that we need to pass something. Here we are going to pass the ID. I'm going to change this to be to cart like this, so that it's clear to you. And the second parameter that we are going to pass is the same as this one, but we are going to add a name for that. I'm going to show you now. So it uses a function inside the products controller. So the first one is the controller that we want to use, which is obviously the products controller. And the second one after the at is the function, the name of the function. So the name of the function could be add product to cart. As you can see, it's so descriptive. Everything we do is so descriptive, so that you know exactly what it does. And actually, this is not yet. We are not done yet. We need to specify a name for that. Remember here inside the all products blade.php, we specified a name for that root, so that here we are kind of here telling the root, telling the anchor tag to get us to the name of a root here inside this list of roots. And here we don't know, Blade here or Laravel here doesn't know which one to use. So we need to specify a name for that. That's not enough. And to specify a name for a specific root, all you need to do is to pass with this array the key as, and then the name of the root. So the name of the root should be equivalent or should be identical to this one, add to cart product key that we added inside our view. So now Laravel is going to get our list of roots here and check which one has this add to cart key, and it's going to get from the beginning here. This one doesn't have the add to cart name because it doesn't even have a specific name for it. It's going to get to the second one and check if it has if it has this key, and yes, it does. Then it's going to get to this URL and implement this function. Now let's save everything and get to our browser. I'm going to type here products, hit enter. We have an error here. It says undefined variable ID, and the problem is inside this file. And as you can see, the error is that when we call the ID, we should not have this $sign. So I'm going to save and refresh again. And as you can see, we have now each product with the ID above it, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and etc. Now inside our products, the controller, we need to create this function, the function that we have specified, so that it gets called. So inside here, I'm gonna name it exactly the same as this. So I'm gonna copy this and paste it, public function, and then the name of the function, paste, and then we need to pass the ID, because here, as you saw, we passed the ID, so we get the ID after that. I'm going to pass the ID, and also we need to pass something else, which is the request, and we are going to use it later, but for now, just pass the request and request, right? Because this request will make us access the session, which we are going to store the cart inside it and get the previous cart as well, so that we can add more items inside this cart over and over again. So here, just for testing, I'm going to print the ID, so that I show you exactly how it works, and I show you that it works correctly. Because now, when you get to this URL, it's going to implement this function, which is this one, and it's gonna print this ID. So now, if we save and refresh again, and click on Add to Cart, it's gonna get us the ID of that product. If we click on the second one, Add to Cart, second product, which means it works correctly. And as you can see in the browser link URL, you have the product, and then add to cart, and then the number of the product. Let's now continue working on the add product to cart. And in order to do so, I'm going to create a class called cart, which is going to take care of the whole process. So it's going to have some methods that are going to add products to cart and delete products and calculate the price, the quantity, and everything. So to do so, all you need to do is to get to the app and right click, and then new, and then PHP class, and I'm going to name it cart. Hit enter, and as you can see, it created a class called cart for us. And first of all, in order to work with the cart, we need to have a constructor, and the constructor basically is going to initialize some values. If the cart already has values, meaning that if the cart already has products inside it, it's first going to initialize and add these previous products before adding new products to the cart. And if not, it's just going to initialize the values with 0. So first of all, I'm going to create a constructor, and as you can see, the constructor in PHP is double underscore, and then construct. And inside this constructor, I'm going to initialize these values. But the constructor is going to take a value, and the value that is going to take is the previous cart. So the previous cart is the values or products that were added previously by the user. So cart, previous cart, and then if this previous cart is not null, meaning that there are already values inside it, we are going to do something. Otherwise, we are going to initialize the values with 0. And the cart should have three properties. The first one is the items, which is an array that is going to store all of the items, public items, and we also need to have total quantity, total quantity, the total quantity of the items inside the cart, and total price obviously is the total price that the user is going to pay for his products or her products. So the items array is going to be in this shape. It is going to have an ID for each product, so the product ID, and each ID is going to store an array of the products, and each array has quantity, 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 and then the price for individual item, quantity, and finally the data. And the data are stuff like the product name, the description, the things that already we have fetched from the database. So this is going to be the data. So this is the structure of the structure of the array. ID, the ID of the product, and then it points to an array of the data related to this product. So the quantity, the price, the data, and so on and so forth. The total quantity, sum of all of the quantities inside of the items array. The total price, obviously, the total price of all of the items. So if the previous cart is not null, so we are going to initialize the item. The items is going to be equal to the items from the previous cart. So we are going to get the items, right? The second one is the total quantity. We are going to get the total quantity from the previous cart, total quantity, and finally the total price. So the total price as well. Now, if the cart is empty, which means that the user is going to add the first item to the cart, we are going to initialize these, but with 0, with nothing. So the previous items is an array of nothing, going to be just an array of nothing. And the total quantity obviously is 0. There are no products inside our cart, and the total price obviously is 0 as well. Now the most important method, which is add to cart. Now let's add to cart. Public and then function, and you can name it anything. I'm going to name it add item, and it's going to take two parameters. The first one is the ID of the product, and the second one is the product itself, product. So inside it, what we need to do is to check if the ID, if the product is already inside the previous cart or not. And the best way to do so is to use something called a function in PHP called array key exists. And what this method does basically is it's gonna take the ID and check if it's inside the array or not, if it's inside the items array or not. Exists, and then we pass the ID, and we pass the this items, right? So here I'm gonna add a comment. The item already exists, right? And if the item already exists, it means that the user has already added this item, and he or she wants to add another item, another one of the same item. Else, this is the first time here, first time to add this product to cart, right? So inside this, we are going to add the item for the first time. So here, since the item is already exists inside the items array, we need just to get it and increase the quantity, right? So I'm going to create a new variable, and I'm going to name it product to add, and it's going to be equal to this items, and then the ID. So we got that item. So here it's gonna get to the items array and search for the ID and get it. It's gonna get this, for example, this array, and store it inside this new variable which is called product to add. And we need to do only one thing on this product, which is to increase the quantity. So I'm going to increase the quantity equals to plus plus, which means that increasing the number inside it. So it's going to get to this quantity. For example, this is 1, and it's going to increase this to 2, and then 3 if the user adds it over and over again. And else, if this is the first time that the user is adding the item, we are going to create this product to add array, but it's going to be with the quantity is 0, and it's going to be obviously an array, this array, and the quantity is 0, is 1, sorry, is 1, because this is the first time. And then the price, and then the price is equal to the product price, and then the data, but let me first add the data, and I'm gonna edit the price. So the data is equal to the product that we passed, just the product, right? Which contains, this one contains the name of the product, the description, the image, everything. The price, actually, we need to edit something. Remember here inside the product.php model, we edited the product from a string, from an integer to a string, because we added this $sign. So we need, in order to increase the price or make any mathematical operations on it, we need to convert it back to a string. And to convert it back to a string, we need first to remove this $sign. So I'm going to create a new here price, and it's going to be equal to this product, and then price, and we are going to use a method called string replace. So string replace, and the first parameter is going to be the parameter that we want to remove, which is the $sign. The second parameter is the parameter that we need to add it instead of this. Obviously, we don't need to add anything, so I'm going to just pass nothing. And the third parameter is the string to edit. And obviously, we need to cast it to integer so that it gets converted to integer. Now it's an integer, back again integer with no $sign. So this is the price. So I'm going to pass here the price. Now we are finished with the if statement, and finally we need to add this product to add. We need to add it to our items array. So I'm going to create this items, and then the ID is equal to product to add. Now it's going to add this product to add, which is either the one that has already been inside this items array, but with increased quantity, with quantity increased, or with a new new array with. And we also need to increase the total quantity of the cart. So this, and then total quantity, just increase it, and the total price obviously is going to be equal to the previous total price, this total price, the previous one, plus the price that we have the price of the product that we have just added to the cart, which is this one. If you want to store the total price of a specific item instead of only one, you can just make another mathematical operation and multiply the total quantity, this one, the total quantity of a single price, and store it here. But I don't prefer to do so. If you want, go ahead and do that.